We had to go quiet for the last few months because we were going through this very protracted electioneering period. We come from the belief that the SDGs can best be delivered by people on the ground in their communities. So at the lowest possible, I think people like to say hyper-local level. Now, we worked very well with Chief Francis Kariuki in Lynette at the beginning, and we were able to collect data from all of his 12,500 households. And it was good quality data on everything. It was data on food, on security, on housing, on sanitation, water, on women, on youth, on livelihoods, and so on and so forth. It became possible for Chief Kariuki to actually identify the women who are vulnerable or the children who need help, that sort of thing. Because of the success of what we did with Chief Francis Kariuki, we wanted to then scale it up a little bit and go to 4 other locations, which we did. And we started working on them last year, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with that community. However, we were starting this work when it was campaign season. So the way the meetings would go, we always start by meeting the community and talking to them, getting them to understand what the SDGs are, getting them to understand what data is and its value to them, and how they can use the data to identify needs and gaps, which they then use to better advocate for the things that they need. In Lynette, for example, they used the data to advocate for a health center, which they got. Anyway, so when we started working with the community and we were doing our meetings, we had to seed some time within the meetings to allow for politicians, for the local politicians, to come and speak to the people, because this is one area where they had a group of people coming together, and most of them were community leaders. The challenge was that they distorted the work, because they would use our work as a hook and say, I will pay young people to collect data. I will pay the women to go and collect. In fact, for every form that you fill, I will pay X. The monetization of this is something that we have since learned is a horrible motivator for communities to do things with data, for the simple reason that when they go out to start collecting data from every single household, the motivation is now, how many forms can I fill so that I can go and collect some money, rather than how can I fill these forms to make sure that I can get a better community, a better health center, better facilities, and sort of thing.
Given that we were collecting this data during the electioneering period, it would make sense that the community members did not feel like they could trust the data collectors with the sensitive information such as their ID numbers. And also, since the data collectors collecting the data were a bit young, so you find some of the community members are a bit old, so they do not trust to answer the question about age. Looking at this questionnaire, you'll see that Francis Kuria, as he indicated on the form that he was the breadwinner, and also the section for spouse name, he also indicated his name as the spouse. He indicated the relationship to breadwinner was wife. And when you look at their ID numbers and breadwinner, the phone numbers, they differ. So it means this information is for 2 different people. And also looking at the section for number of children, you'll see that he indicated 13 children. But on this form, he did not indicate any relationship to breadwinner. The question for relationship to breadwinner, he only answered the part for father and mother and left the rest blank. And also the part for age, he did not answer anything. From the observations that we made, that they did not fill this question. First of all, the water and sanitation and energy information was on the last page. So these data collectors were filling the forms in a hurry, so they missed out the last page.
What I'm going to tell you is, as a result of all of that, we have learned a few things. One, that community leaders are really important to this process. They're invaluable to the process because of the fact that what happens is that community leaders, they drive how the data is collected. They know who is within the community and so on. And because of that, they are they're really integral to collecting good data within the community, and also all shepherding the process all the way up to the time where they actually meet with the government and advocate for whatever it is that they require. If you don't have community leaders who have a good relationship with their chief or their local administration, then the data you'll get will be bad. If the community leaders themselves are motivated by money, then the data that you collect will be bad. So now what we're doing is we're trying to figure out a different way of motivating them and bringing them together. Over the next few weeks, what you will see is that we're going to be starting the projects again in those 4 locations. Now that the electioneering period is over, and we're going to be trying to first of all foster the good community leaders who will be committed to the process. It's a voluntary process, who will not be expecting to be paid for participating, and from there we shall then train them on data, and then after that we shall go into the data collection. So we'll be telling you almost on a weekly basis how we're doing with that and how that is going to be going. Meanwhile, I would request you very humbly, please subscribe to our channel, because we're going to be telling you about our experiences for the next couple of months in Nakuru North constituency, where we're collecting data with the community and where we're doing some pretty fun stuff. Sign up. Thank you very much.
Asante sana makofi tena.